When I thought about this particular topic, the first organization that came to mind was JISS. And that's because, as far as I remember, it's been one of the oldest organizations that was formed during the apartheid era. And we see that our community members saw the need of the hour and put their minds, hearts, and in fact their pockets together to bring together a service that has lasted this many years. And to talk about this particular organization, which is the Johannesburg Institute for Social Services, is Sister Hasina Vally. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Hasina.
Wa alaikum salam, Najma, to you and your listeners.
In what year was the organization formed?
JISS was formed in 1934. So at that time, it was named Johannesburg Indian Social Welfare Association. And it was a group of community members who saw the need after the Great Depression in 1934, where there were problems with nutrition and extreme poverty and squalid living conditions of Indian people. And the Indo-European Women's Association and the South African Institute of Race Relations were instrumental in, assisting the community members to establish JISWA at the time.
Was it founded in Lenasia?
No, it was not founded in Lenasia. It was founded, from the history, obviously, that I've read about, it was founded in Johannesburg.
Right,
in the then Transvaal.
Right, because at that point there was no Lenasia.
No, there was no Lenasia.
So it's actually the very people that moved over the years through forced removals and the Group Areas Act that were moved then out into Lenasia from Vredendorp. And, we've mentioned this on the program a few times, Sophiatown, Fordsburg, Kliptown, in fact, as well, into the suburb Lenasia. So take us into that history of, the movement, imagine, from 1934 and then progressing into what was a very difficult era during apartheid, and still managed to upkeep the service itself.
So when you look at the history of JISS, I'm really proud to be associated with JISS, because when you go through everything, you will realize how instrumental this whole organization was in,
absolutely.
They had many areas that they focused on. It was not just welfare. They focused on education. They focused on health. So when JISS actually started in 1935, they even had started a clinic and, for mothers and children.
Right.
Because those were the things that were required. So they identified the needs of the community. And at that time, there was a nurse from, I think it was a social worker and nurse from Germany called Anna Katz. And she actually worked for JISS then up until the 60s. And she did home visits and, worked with families, identified their needs, ran this children and mothers clinic. So for immunizations, for everything that there wasn't for people of color. Yes, for Indians. Yeah, there was nothing for Indians. And, as you go through the history of JISS, you will see that they were instrumental in a lot of developments of the Indian community in Johannesburg, in Fordsburg, and in Lenasia. So from, arranging transport from Lenasia to Coronation Hospital, because the government of the time would restrict whatever they possibly could, access to services. And so whether it was education, health, the organization and its members and leaders ensured that these things were put into place. So even when it came to the police station,
Right.
They made sure that, there were police services, crime was increasing. So, I think I would also suggest that people go and have a look at the Lenasia Legacy website, because we
Mm-hmm.
have uploaded, the history of JISS and the story of JISS,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and everything that the organization was instrumental in assisting with and establishing.
Right.
And also the people who remember pre-democracy, when Kasim Saluji was the director. He was director of just from 1967 right until 1994, when he then had to go, he was then elected into parliament.
Right.
But
Hasina,
he's,
before,
uh,
yeah, I sorry to interrupt you. Before, I'm so glad you mentioned late Kasim Saluji, but I needed to know who were those visionaries that thought about every aspect of social services for the Indian community at that time. Who are they? Who were the founding members?
so when you look at the history, um, it was Dr. Um, It was Anna Katz, who was obviously the social worker there, and she was instrumental in providing services. And then from race relations, it was Herman Kallenbach. Then from the Indo-European Women's Association, it was Dr. Agnes Winifred Hoonley. And then, at that time, they spoke to the Kunwar Sir Maharaj and convinced him of the plight of the Indian people, and he provided his support. And after giving his support, the Institute of Race Relations and their heads, which was then also Quentin White and Herman Kallenbach, and the people who were in the Institute of Race Relations, then assisted and made sure that this organization was formed. And then
Right.
they also ended up being chairpersons
Right. Right.
of the
Wonderful.
of this organization. So the first chairperson was Herman Kallenbach, then Dr. Agnes Winifred Hoonley, who was from the Indo-European Women's Association, and then Dr. Quentin White, who was also head of the South African Institute of Race Relations. So
Right.
yeah, there's a very rich history there.
Indeed. And we're not
Yeah.
hearing any Indian names. We would have
But not
assumed.
at the time. Not at the time.
Yeah.
It was only later on that we then had people like KJ Tavaria and MM Gardi, and
Yes.
then more in my time was Dr. Isub Chasad. He
Mm-hmm.
was still on our board up until recently,
Mm-hmm.
when he's not too well at the moment, and also he's now already in his early 90s.
Wonderful.
And then Isub Chasat, and then Isub Bana.
Res and
Yes.
Dr. Rashid Ahmed Saluji is also late now. Dr. Ram Saluji on
Yes,
the
Dr. Ramsaluji was on the board also. Yes. And
right.
obviously continuing his legacy. His son is also now on our board.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
good. So when
Yeah.
we return after this break, we speak to Hasina Vally on the establishment of the Johannesburg Institute for Social Services, but more into the history now on the what it was known as the Johannesburg Indian Social Welfare Association.
For investment and advisory services from an award-winning firm, look no further than the Belmont Mayer Group, your gateway to unparalleled investment and wealth management. At Belmont Mayer, we believe in the art of wealth creation, a meticulous process fueled by our unwavering commitment to excellence. With a focus on providing elite alternative investments and quality advice, we also pride ourselves on maximizing value for our esteemed investors, as seen through our consistent outperformance. Your financial success is our top priority. Join us at Belmont Mayer and experience the difference firsthand. Ready to embark on a journey of greatness? Contact us today. Reach out to the Belmont Mayer Group on 078 786 1698 Call or WhatsApp or email us at info@belmontmayor.com. Elevate your financial future with Belmont Mayor, where every detail matters.
For too many communities across Africa and the world, access to clean water remains a dream. At Africa Muslims Agency, we dig deep, reaching into the heart of the earth to fill the cups of those in need. Sponsor a water well for 16,500 Rand, or a borehole in Afghanistan for 55,000 Rand, or Africa for 65,000 Rand, or any amount. With water comes food, health, education, and growth. An ongoing reward with Africa Muslims Agency.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
The chaos and destruction in the Gaza Strip is beyond comprehension. Virtually everyone is displaced, hungry, and in urgent need of life-saving humanitarian support. The Al-Imdad Foundation has been working tirelessly to address the health, nutrition, and water needs of the population. Our hospital, water deliveries, and hot meal programs are made possible with your support. Your donation, big or small, is a lifeline for those in dire need. Help Gaza survive. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Kids these days are smart, and when you're competing for their attention against their smartphones, you need to make smart choices, like using Sunfoil triple refined pure sunflower oil in every meal you make. It's naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether you're cooking, frying, or baking, you get the great tasting results that'll get their attention faster than the latest app. And if that doesn't work, change the Wi-Fi password. Sunfoil. Now we're cooking.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
We're speaking to Director Hasina Vally of the Johannesburg Johannesburg Institute for Social Services. I think that Indian Social Welfare Association and its transition to JISS has been quite interesting. But, you know, before you answer that, we were before the break talking about the moving into the 60s and Qasim Saluji being the first director, as it were. Is that, can we talk about then the you know, the establishment in Lenasia and how it then became a center point for social services for Lenasians at the time?
I think he was a very visionary leader, and when he started in 1967 and, you know, identified the needs in the community and saw that the community really needed a center from which to operate and to function. And he was very dynamic in that he had a very holistic view of the issues and the problems in the community, and he worked with many organizations, and what he then did was also become, you know, he put JISS on the map, basically. So JISS went through a lot of growth and milestones during his tenure, and he also influenced board members, community leaders, other organizations. He also worked very closely, from what I've heard, with government, and I do know that he was he played a very big part in the development of the white paper on social welfare. So nationally also, he then put JISS on the map. And And also when I remember Ismail Vadi also being a guest speaker at one of our AGMs. And he remembers as a young person that just was like the center for activists and for people as part of the movement. I also grew up in Lenasia. And I remember after graduating, going to the Gandhi Hall, and Kasim Saluji was there mobilizing the community.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think
And
he did.
so he played a big role
Yes.
in ensuring that the community got the services that they need. And in every aspect, whether it was education, welfare, health, he really advocated for people's rights.
Mm. Now, you know how apt that we speak of the late Kasim Saluji on just a day before Mandela Day, and the passion that drove, this momentous organization, really. This momentous moment where we recognize the association as such. And I just want to also say that I'm speaking about Kasim Saluji next week, inshallah, but from a different perspective, just from the stoops of Lenasia and what was born out of the discussions that people had on their stoops. And now when you speak of the magnanimity of this organization where it started, when we talk about grassroots and where you are at, and Hasina, you are now the current director of JISS. And I'm sure over the years you've seen the transitioning from Indian Social to Institute of Social Services. Tell us about your journey.
Okay, so my journey, I always feel I have, I have wonderful memories as well of JISS, because when JISS came to Lenasia, one of the fundraising events was the Red Nose Carnival. And I think people in the community remember JISS for the fetes which they did to fundraise. And so I have memories as a teenager as well of being at JISS fetes and the work that JISS was doing, even as as a learner at a school in Lenasia. We were invited to the JISS Center, to JISS Center in Lenasia by Family Health Services to, for prevention of teenage pregnancies. So we have all good memories. And I have a history with JISS in terms of I did my practical placement there as a student in my second year. In my third and fourth year, I also did my placements there because Association for the Physically Disabled was using JISS premises. And then I started at JISS, after 11 years of experience in specialized fields like mental health and deaf services. I then came back to JISS and I started as a social worker and moved to social work manager and then to director. And like I said, I have a very proud association with JISS. It's a very well-established organization with a very good infrastructure. So basically, my journey has also been, just working with what we had and also improving on what we had and ensuring that our legacy continues. The face of JISS has changed in many ways because when JISS started, we were doing everything. Like I explained in the history, it was education, welfare, health, everything. As we progressed, you must know, a lot of other organizations also came up in Lenasia and in Johannesburg. So a lot of religious organizations, a lot of specialized organizations. So at the moment, JISS's core service is child protection. So we focus on child and family care services, and we are subsidized by the Department of Social Development. But we still welcome community involvement and community support, because what the government gives us is only 40% of our budget.
Right.
But again,
So, Continue.
But again, this is such an established organization that, and because we have such a diverse board of management, with so much of expertise, businessmen, professionals. So this organization, is a ship that is really well steered, and it makes managing it also
Well, well,
really,
yes,
not so difficult, I would say. Yeah.
right. So, I know that you probably started off with mentally disabled and then physically disabled, and now you're saying child protection. So there are all of these different branches that you worked on. But I think whatever service you are providing now in terms of social service is just, I'm sure there's so much of a need, and you're fulfilling that role very well since its establishment and up to this day. So I think it's very important for us to actually salute the organizations that provide this kind of service to not only Laonesians, established in Leonesia as it were, but of course now serving the rest of the community in that region. Thank you so much, Hasina.
Thank you.
And that was our director of the Johannesburg Institute for Social Services, our special guest again, reflecting on the services that were the need of the time and to this day. And we highlight these once again, reminding our viewers it is we are remembering Mandela's Day as well.